Okay, dear Dhamma friends, so I welcome all of you to Kalalgoda English Medium Retreat. So this is the time for a question and answer session. So I, as usual, invite to present with the written questions.
Most Venerable Bhante, today we have altogether 5 questions, out of which one is just a general question.
Yeah.
Venerable Sir, Anapana Sati, inhale through nostrils, feel pain here and there, thought pain. After a while I felt full breath, nostril to lungs and exhale. Felt nothing of any body part, only the fall breath for a while. After some time felt body again. Thero Saranai.
Can you repeat the question?
Anapana Sati, inhale through nostrils, feel pain here and there, thought pain. After a while I felt full breath, nostril to lungs and exhale. Felt nothing at any body part, only the full breath for a while. After some time felt body again.
Yeah. So actually this is how we experience when we start Anapana Sati, mindfulness of in-breath and out-breath, or mindfulness of breathing. So basically we keep breathing as the primary object. That is our main object. So that is where we hope to pay our attention. But our mind does not like to stay completely with the breath. So it jumps from breath to something else. So maybe to sound, maybe to a pain, maybe to a thought. So those are the 3 sections, so 3 types of distractions, mostly the mind shifts. But anyway, we are trying our best to keep the mind on the breath. So it may be in breath, it may be out breath. But one thing I have seen in this, say, written question is that yogi is trying his best. Only thing is that we don't need to have a kind of prejudice, thinking that I have to feel in breath and out breath with both nostrils, or maybe with one nostril. So it actually can change. So these are certain subtle differences that we start to know when we start to meditate. Otherwise we don't even care about whether we are breathing or not, unless we are being drawn somewhere. Maybe jump to a pool and then drawn, then we know, okay, I need to breathe. But now we are trying our best to be fully aware of breathing. So there still we can see the breathing. Sometimes it becomes a little longer, it can become even shorter, it can be subtle, it can be gross. And again, it can happen at a particular nostril, it may be from both nostrils. Those kind of little variations actually occur. And again, another experience is that you can even go with the breath to the inside, the lungs and all, but please avoid that. So basically, it is possible. You can follow the breath and try to experience the complete, complete path of the breath. But that is not the intention. Here we are trying to keep our attention totally at the nostril area. We are not following the breath. So when it is going inside, don't follow the breath. And when it is going outside, don't follow the breath. Just keep the breath, keep your attention at the nostril area. Because as you know, mindfulness is sort of given a simile to a gatekeeper. You know, gatekeeper does not follow the visitors, but he simply keeps his attention or his duty at the gate. So he's simply checking who is coming in, and if he's a loud person, then he's allowing him to go in. When someone is going out, again he's allowing him to go out. So he still remain at the gate. So he's not going in and out. So likewise, so we have to maintain the mindfulness at the nostril, and we are not following with the breath to inside or following out with the out breath to outside. So that is one point. And so keep kind of an open attention, that we have no preferences. Like if it is happening in a gross way, doesn't matter, it's all right. If it is happening in the subtle way, all right. If it is happening in a short, doesn't matter. Long, doesn't matter. So we have no such preferences. And we are completely open, completely maintaining some kind of a equanimity, and we are ready to acknowledge whatever the way it is happening. So if you are able to do this, then you are really going through the path. And what else? So, and again, suppose you are able to maintain this attitude, kind of open attitude, and trying your best to pay your attention at the nostril and being fully aware of in-breath. At that time, suppose your mind unintentionally shift to another object, maybe to a thought or to a something, and for a while it get deluded there, and after a while suppose it returns or you bring it back. So you don't need to worry at that point, because as the beginners, all our minds are shifting, all our minds are distracting. So if we expect our minds to stay at the nostril perfectly throughout the hour, so it may not happen. So don't worry. So once you are able to understand, it is not with the breath right now, it may be with a sound, it may be with the pain, or it may be with the thought. So at that time, just slowly bring it back to the breath again, and don't panic, don't get disheartened, or don't curse yourself, because that is the nature of the mind. Now only we know that mind is kind of something that, even though we call it as my mind, so I have no such kind of a control at the moment. So that's a kind of a realization. There's a kind of a innocence developing within ourselves, and just acknowledge it, just be with it. And then again we are trying, again one breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, like that we are keep going. So if you just maintain this path, so slowly we can grow in the path. Yeah.
Venerable Sir, my main object of meditation is walking. After walking, when I sit down, I focus on different sensations I feel in the body and sometimes on the breath. For a few months, I feel my body is very calm and settled. I can sit in meditation on the floor without changing the posture for 45 to 60 minutes. Sometimes I feel pain in the joints, but it is not a problem. But I observe that my mind is very turbulent and starts making stories the moment I shut my eyes. When I sit for meditation, this is a problem for me. How is my body so calm and settled while the mind is so turbulent? Please help. Thero Saranai. Much merit to you.
Yeah, at least your body is supporting. So for some, even that is not supporting. So, so just happy about that. So, and slowly it will happen, because if you pay attention to the body and without paying attention to the mind, so you can be happy, because it's a kind of a gradual path. So at the beginning we can be fully aware of what is happening at the body. So if right now when you are paying attention to the body, say you don't feel any kind of a turbulence, it is fairly stable and there is no much pain and it is supporting. And there also, if you are able to see, there's a kind of a natural process going on, like rising and falling, or like breathing. So you can use these type of processes as an anchoring point for your mind. So if you don't have such kind of a process to anchor, then your mind does not find any kind of place to stay. So at the beginning we need to have this kind of process, kind of involuntary process, then only mind has something to do, because we like to do something. So we can't immediately go to something that we are not doing anything. That is something advanced. So you can't do it immediately. So at the beginning, just give some work to the mind. So the work that we are giving is just being aware of this kind of an involuntary process. Maybe rising and falling. Say for example, when you breathe in, your abdomen slowly rising. So you ask the mind, you order the mind to be with this complete rising cycle. So it's slowly starting. Now you may feel the movement. maybe you can feel the stiffness, the muscles are being tightened, and again it is moving forward, and it comes to some kind of a threshold, and then it stops. So you ask your mind to be fully aware of this process, because we need to give some work to the mind. So otherwise it will shift. And again you educate the mind, telling that in case during this rising process, if your mind shifts to something else, you may be missing some part of this process. Suppose this is a kind of a really important thing that you need to look at. Say someone is behind you, in case you shift your attention, will cut your head. So that's a kind of a simile Buddha has given. So there he is given to mindfulness. So he's giving a beautiful simile. Suppose that there's a carnival in the city, now like these days, Aurudu festival. So there's a big carnival in the city, and you are being asked to carry a completely filled oil pot, keeping on your head. So if you spill even a drop, there's a person behind you who has a very sharp sword and will cut your neck. So Buddha is asking, so will this person be able to carry the completely filled this oil pot? So that is like a simile Buddha is giving. So this is a kind of a situation, because we don't know, I mean, there Buddha is telling, so this Mara, the death is something like that, always looking for a kind of a place, looking for a kind of a chance to take you out of the mindfulness, take you out from the object. And again, there are so many distractions. So there are many lustful thoughts may be occurring. There may be various kind of, other incidents are coming and remembering. And maybe the body is not supporting, and all the heat is troubling you. The mosquitoes are troubling. Now ants are troubling. So many things are there. So among all these things, amidst all these things, are you able to just be aware of the breath? Just be aware of the rising and falling. It's quite difficult. So that is why Buddha is emphasizing, giving that there's a person behind you with a sharp sword to kill you. So such important, because if we can understand each and every moment when we are shifted our attention from the primary object, especially for the beginners, so our mind is with a distraction. Our mind is with something which is deluded, which is completely taking ourselves for a ride. So we are completely deluded. So that is where the pamada, the heedlessness. So in a way we need to have some knowledge, some understanding. So this is something really worth that we are trying. So let's try our best, at least to look at few breaths, at least to look at few rising and falling. So when we have that kind of energy, so our completely we are geared to do that. And then rather than just keeping your attention in the body without an object, just use this rising and falling as the object, or breathing as the object. Then you have some work for your mind, and it is a little challenging work, because observing rising is utterly a boring thing. Observing falling is utterly a boring thing, because it is not like you are watching a movie or listening to some music. It's utterly boring. So is it possible for me to just be with this neutral feeling from the beginning to the end? So in a way it is quite a challenge. So please try that. So don't just keep the attention just to the body, rather use this kind of a involuntary process. Then you have each and every breath. Actually Buddha beautifully explains, each breath when you are being mindful, a little bit of mindfulness is developed. A little bit of say bojjhanga is developed. When you are being aware of just an out breath, one out breath, a little bit is developed. Likewise, we are slowly, like we are collecting water drop by drop, we are improving mindfulness. Yeah.
Venerable Sir, this yogini is a very young cancer survivor, sitting meditation. This is regarding my sitting meditation experience, where I use breath as the primary object. I first started meditation here in February, and on my last day at retreat, I experienced my breath become very subtle, deep, and I was able to focus my attention on breath fully for around 45 minutes. At that moment, I was sitting under a tree and thought I sensed outside sounds. They didn't bother me. My body or mind didn't distract me. Then a very bright purple light appears in front of me, and it stayed there while I still continued focusing on the breath. That light didn't disappear, but it didn't distract me. Then I sensed the heartbeat of mine more than the breath, and then this disturbed and stopped the meditation. After I went home, I practiced sitting meditation at least 4 to 5 days per week, 1.5 hours. Then when I started meditation, within very short time, the same sort of purple glow appears and stays, and sometimes it comes and it goes. I continue focusing on breath while the glow is in front of me. Then when I worship Buddha or listening to a banner, also this light appears. It glows very brightly, and sometimes I felt as if it radiates heat. Are these illusions or obstacles for meditation? Please guide me. Today's experience also there.
Yeah, I think we'll answer this question first. So this is not an illusion. So illusion is something that sometimes when your mind calms down, you can see certain say images, like say your past relatives, maybe Buddha, maybe some deities, or maybe say skeletons and all, completely kind of various types of images if you see. So those are kind of mind-made illusions. So those has to be neglected, those has to be avoided, and we have to pay your attention back to the whatever the primary object. But this is something your kind of a outcome came out of the concentration. So when your mind concentrates, it builds up some kind of an energy, so it manifests as a light. So if you are doing, so I think the Anapanasati, so when you do Anapanasati especially, so this possibility is there. So sometimes in Dhamma we call it as Anapanasati Nimitta, sign of Anapanasati, sign of concentration. So it is, so you can welcome that. So the tricky thing is that we don't need to immediately look at that. So it's a good sign that you are getting it, and but continue to be with the breath. So suppose the light is here, but you are not looking at it, but still you are paying attention slowly, calmly, in a sort of a peaceful manner, still with the breath. Still with the breath. Now again this nimitta, what we call the sign, the light, comes, and again it becomes very much stabilized, and it can become more brighter, and more you keep your attention with the breath becomes subtler and subtler, and this light get merged with the breath. So there is a situation that you can experience where you are breathing in from the sign, from the light, and you are breathing out into the light. So this kind of a merging would happen. So at that time automatically your attention will be drawn to this light. So at that time slowly drop the attention to breath. Instead you look at the light, mostly to the center of the light, very softly, very gently, because now you have shifted your primary object from breath to this sign. So now we are going to another step. So just look at this sign very gently. So because now your mindfulness has to be even sharper, because at the beginning you had gross breath, then it becomes subtle breath. So the mindfulness has to be sharper in order to perceive this subtle breath. Now you even drop the breath, which is something moving, something activity is there, but now what you have is just a glowing light, or just a stationary light. So you need to have fair amount of patience, fair amount of mindfulness, fair amount of concentration just to maintain your attention on this light. So it's a kind of an exercise. So just look at the light gently to its center and just forget about all the world. If you can do that, say you forgot about all the world, you don't know who you are, you don't know where you are, you don't know the time, and you are simply being with this light. And you are simply observing it, you are simply allowing it, enjoying it. And then if you come to kind of a delicate balance, then you may absorb to it. So this is kind of a really beautiful experience one can experience in meditation. So if it happens, you can just be with it and don't have any kind of a doubt. Don't start to think when you are inside it. And you just be there. Just being, nothing else. Just being, not even a thought to check where am I or what am I do or something like that. But be fully aware that you are fully aware, not sleeping, not drowsy, fully aware that you are in it, that you are merged with it. So this is a kind of a absorption that you can experience. So if you are able to come to this, so just experience it. This is kind of a blissful state that one can experience in meditation. So you can experience it for as long as possible, maximum maybe 1 hour. And after that, better come out and you can practice it as a samatha meditation, as a tranquility meditation. But don't get or don't think that this is the last or this is the kind of the goal of the meditation. This is just a milestone, like in this coming Vesak days that you have place to place some dansel, So when you are going the path, so you have some places to enjoy. So this is kind of a thing. So you just enjoy it. And just after that you again have to go on the journey. Yeah.
Bhante, this is that yogi's today's experience.
Yeah.
This is regarding sitting meditation. Again, breath as the primary object. When meditation after certain time, around after half an hour or so maybe, I felt my body is very slightly shaking. She emphasized that she is very conscious about the slight shaking of the body. I was focusing on in-breath and out-breath, and I was sensing the breath fully most of the time. Time to time, mind distracted, but subtle pain in my back and thoughts regarding past incidents. They didn't distract me for a long time anyway, but I felt my mind is not focusing fully. Please advise and guide me kindly. Thero Saranai.
The first paragraph, can you repeat?
Yeah. This is regarding sitting meditation. Again, breath as the primary object. When meditating after certain time, around after half an hour or so maybe, I felt my body is very slightly shaking. I was focusing on in-breath and out-breath, and I was sensing the breath fully most of the time.
Yeah, okay. So, I would say, now basically, when we do Anapanasati, we can pay our attention to the characteristics of the in-breath and characteristics of the out-breath. So they have these kind of element characteristics. For example, breath occurs and it has the property of moving. It has the property of kind of blowing. And it has the property of, hitting your, nostril, rubbing the nostril. So likewise, you can feel these sensations. So if you are feeling these sensations, now you are more into the Vipassana side, because you are now with some kind of a real experience, some kind of something verifiable, something physical. So at that time, this kind of shaking can happen. So if you can simply go through it, nothing to worry, because it can happen. Because when you are simply being with the breath, so you are fully focusing on the movement, especially. Say when the movement is there, so you are continuously paying attention to the movement, and you can perceive that this movement is not limited to the breath, but it is available throughout the body. So your lungs are moving, your belly is moving, but blood is circulating. There's large amount of body, fair amount of areas constantly moving. So you can experience even this movement, and even when you are observing that, your body even can naturally start a little swaying. So this, if you can bear it, if you can simply experience it, so nothing to worry. But if you feel that it is too much and it is disturbing the meditation, then you can avoid paying attention to the movement. Rather, you can pay your attention maybe to the touching points, where your buttocks are touching the cushion, your legs are touching each other, maybe hands are touching each other. So those touching points are another places, another object of your attention. So if you are able to pay your attention to those places, most probably you can avoid this kind of a movement. So you have to try various methods, because now you are in a territory of sensations, the elements. You are experiencing the characteristics of the elements. So there you have to be pay attention to the if you pay attention to various elements, then you are fairly balanced. If you pay only to a particular element, only that characteristics, then it become kind of abundant throughout the body, and sometimes it might cause some problem, some kind of imbalance. And again, when you are watching that, before you go and watch it, so basically develop fair amount of concentration through Anapanasati till your mind become fairly concentrated, fairly subtle, well-established mindfulness. Then only you have to look at these things. So if the yogi likes to explain this, I can further clarify, or otherwise we can go to the next section. If the yogi is satisfied with this answer, we can move. Otherwise, if you need further clarification, we can further explain. Okay, then we'll go.
Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation. I had this experience several times. The breath disappears gradually, and after some time, all the bodily sensations too disappear. Then I felt that I was not on the ground, but a few yards up. The body was like a hazy cloud or a mist, almost non-existent. I was feeling extremely light, happy and pleasant. This persisted for about 20 minutes. I enjoyed it very much. My question is, I listened to Mahathero's Deshana yesterday. He said that when such joy comes, not to indulge in it, but to go back to the primary object. But there was no primary object or bodily sensations at that time. What shall I do, Venerable Sir?
Yeah. So if I refer you some parts of the Anapanasati Sutta, so there Buddha says when you come into the second part, Piti Patisangvedi Assa Sissamiti Sikkhati, Sukha Patisangvedi Assa Sissamiti Sikkhati. So these are Buddha looking at this experience in the point of view of feelings. This piti, the rapture, is a part of a feeling. It's a happiness. It's a part of the positive side of the feeling. And there's a lightness happening in the body. You feel that you are like floating, and there's no weight to the body. And it's a very kind of a beautiful experience, and that has some kind of a happy feeling, joyful feeling. It's a part of the feeling. So if you are able to experience this, so rather than just being indulged in it, just come out of it and see now there's a feeling arising. Where is it arising? So it may be throughout the body. It may be predominant in a particular area of the body. So you can do little investigation, just a close look to find out, is it available throughout the body? Is it permanent, or is it starting very gently and then is it fluctuating, or is it maintain the same intensity throughout? So likewise you can do little experiment with these feelings. So remember, these are feelings. So that is the sort of the point that we need to understand. So typically what happens is when the first we experience this kind of thing, so we sort of we really welcome it, we really enjoy it, and we become kind of a victim to it. We indulge it. But next time, you go prepared, you have the kind of a lesson, you know the facts, and once it comes, you enjoy it for a while, doesn't matter. You need to establish it to some extent. Once it is established, so come out of it. So don't just be with it, just come out of it and just see, is it available throughout the body? Is it only prevalent in a particular area of the body? And is it available with the same intensity for a long time, or is it going up and down? Sometimes it is very beautiful, very blissful, and then it is slowly coming down, and maybe it's completely disappearing, coming to a neutral feeling, again it is arising. So likewise, you can simply observe these feelings. So then you are in the side of Vedananupassana. So just go to that stage, then you can actually use this feeling for Vipassana. Yeah.
Bhante, this is a general question.
Yes.
Venerable Bhante, this is not directly relevant to my meditation, but I wish you would clarify. In Sabbasava Sutta, 7 or 8 steps have been given for purification of mind. They are given not in ascending order, but in descending order. That is how I understand it. First Sotapanna, then Sangvara Vinodana, Parivajjana, etc. In Ratavinita Sutta, etc., the path is shown as going along in ascending steps. Generally, Lord Buddha advises regarding Anupubba Sikkata, Anupubba Kiriya and Anupubba Patipada. So it appears that one has to become Sotapanna in order to follow the other instructions. Can you please clarify? Much merit to you, Bhante.
So actually we like to think linearly, and our education also mostly drag us in the linear way of thinking. But as far as Buddha's teaching is concerned, there's a kind of a gradual understanding, gradual development. That is also there. But when we consider the training, Sila Sikha, Samadhi Sikha and Panya Sikha, where we are developing morality, we are developing concentration, and we are developing wisdom. So it does not mean that we have to completely fulfill morality and then only we have to develop concentration. We have to come to the perfection of the concentration, and then only we can go to the development of the wisdom. And if we think like that, it is wrong. So basically, we have to have fair amount of morality. Based on that, we develop concentration, and based on some concentration, say we are developing mindfulness and the wisdom. So this again, development of the wisdom again helps to develop the morality, because more and more you open yourself, more and more your mind becomes purified, more and more wisdom you have, you understand what are the drawbacks in your character, what are the personality traits, and you try to correct them. So your morality will be even purified, even strengthened. Then once your morality is further strengthened, you feel kind of a joy, you have no regrets. Your mind will be fairly unshaken, and then further concentration practice is possible. So when the mind again is well concentrated, more wisdom can arise. So likewise, so this has kind of an interrelated nature, not just the linear way of relationship, not just from 1, 2, 3. Rather, this all three links are helping each other, contributing each other, and that is how actually it will help. And even in the this Ratavinita Sutta, it is true that one stage is for the development of the next stage, and the next stage is for the development of the other stage. That's like that kind of a linear relationship is there. But all these things are not kind of even there you have, even there each and every step has a counter-reacting, kind of counter-productive activity, where the more and more progress may help to purify. If there are some unknown areas of the past experience, you can even clarify those doubts. And and again, if we think that this is the only path, this linear Ratavinita Sutta is the only path to progress, so that is again not the truth, because we have given fair amount of emphasis to this linear development just because of it has been the approach taken in the Visuddhi Magga. In the Visuddhi Magga, so it is taking in this Visuddhi order, starting with the Sila Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, Chitta Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, Magga Jnana Visuddhi. Likewise, the linear relationship is given. So in a way, it has given some kind of a prototype. So we all then think, okay, this is the only possible way. But if you look at suttas, so there is no such kind of a limited, kind of a, say, restriction. Rather, Buddha has given various discourses. There are other ways also. Say, even in the, if you look at even the, say, Satipatthana Sutta. The Satipatthana Sutta, and say, there is one sutta called Padesa Sutta, which comes in the Satipatthana Sangyutta. There, Venerable Ananda is telling that if one is developing any particular Satipatthana, there are 4 Satipatthanas, if one is completely or fully developing one Satipatthana, one can achieve Sotapanna. So there is no kind of a linear relationship given. So if one is mastering, say for example, Kayanupassana, with that itself one can achieve Sotapanna. Suppose one is mastering Vedananupassana, even through that one can attain Sotapanna. So likewise, so you take one kind of a kammattana, one kind of a meditation object, and you master it. And you go through the complete cycle and you can do the job. So as far as I can understand, so there are many possibilities Buddha has given, many prescriptions Buddha has given. So we have to take a particular prescription and take it out. So rather than nowadays what happens is we are reading many prescriptions and not taking the drugs. So that is what the problem. So one prescription says, okay, this way is the path. Another we look at another sutta and it says, oh no, this way is the path. Another sutta telling this way is the path. So we are looking at various suttas and various prescriptions. Ultimately, and another monk also telling, oh, you don't need even to meditate, you just listen to this Dhamma, you attain Sotapanna immediately. So even that is there. So then you become fully out of the box. So what will happen? So basically, if we simply understand, okay, we have fair amount of defilement, fair amount of distractions, mind is still not concentrated, I have to develop. So it's a kind of a practical path Buddha has given. So we have to slowly develop. We have to be humble to understand, okay, I have certain say flaws in my sila. Okay, I am establishing myself as much as possible in the sila. But I am not stopping there. Because Buddha is telling, okay, this sila is for the development of the concentration. So you are going to the development of the concentration. And even certain suttas, Buddha says, sila is for the development of the satipatthanas. And you go and develop satipatthana, the wisdom development. So those are available. And more and more you practice these things. More and more you develop mindfulness. More and more you start to aware about yourself. Get a kind of a assessment about your character, about your behavior, about your mind. Then only you can understand what are the drawbacks in me. Where am I going wrong? What are the flaws in me? Where am I need to improve? What are the strengths in me? So we can have a kind of a, say, some reasonable judgment, reasonable assessment about ourselves. So actually, you can't do this without mindfulness. So just if you can do it, I don't think it is possible. You need fair amount of tranquility, fair amount of mindfulness, then only you can see yourself with a true picture. Otherwise, we give marks based on our defilements. So if suppose you are a person who, say, love music, for example, and you give more marks to that side of yourself, and you like the people who likes or who loves music. So because you have the trait of loving music. But in the mindfulness, so you have some kind of balance, you have some kind of a impartial nature, so then you have a kind of a unbiased assessment about yourself. Then you can develop yourself. So mindfulness practice therefore helps us to look at these things very honestly, impartially, and then to develop ourselves. And the Sabbasava Sutta, as far as I can understand, the first one, as the yogi mentioned, it is little advanced, but the other ones doesn't have any kind of a linear relationship, because it talks about how you need to avoid certain places which is vulnerable for defilements, how you need to remove the defilements or kind of unskillful thinking, then how you need to say contemplate while eating. So these are all different kind of techniques which doesn't have any kind of a linear relationship. So as far as I can understand, I think this is how I interpret it. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's the end of the question.
Okay. So I got another written question. It was forwarded to me. So I went through the question. So it is it is mentioning about little advanced states of vipassana. So what it tells is that when you start to develop mindfulness, so and at the beginning you need primary object. Say we take as Anapanasati for clarification. So that becomes your primary object, and more you develop it. Say you develop fair amount of mindfulness, concentration, and after that, suppose you start to look at arising and passing away of various phenomena, and suppose even once you pass that, you can come to a stage where mind does not catch, or mind does not cling to any kind of object. So there are objects, but mind is not happy to look at those objects. So this yogi is explaining that kind of a situation. So he or she is asking, why is it happening? So this is the development. So that is what we need to understand. So if we know how meditation develops, then there is no question. So if we think that throughout the lifetime the mind has to be completely with the breath, so it is not the situation. So at the beginning it is true. So we need to be with the breath, true. But slowly, more and more you develop, so breath becomes calm down, breath becomes subtle, and even it disappears. And we may even shift our attention to various other sensations available throughout the body. Now it is not necessary to look at the breath at all, in case you have fair amount of concentration. And now we are looking at or watching this various phenomena arising and passing away. So this is a kind of a training, another stage of your vipassana meditation, and at that time there's a possibility that mind starts to come back from the object rather than being with the object. So it is explained like say kaye kayanupasse viharato chittang virajjati chittang vimucchati anupadaya asavehi vedanasu vedananupasse viharato chittang virajjati vimucchati anupadaya asavehi chitte chittanupasse viharato chittang virajjati vimucchati anupadaya asavehi. So Buddha clearly explains, so more and more you look at these, say, bodily experiences, you are looking at it, you are wholeheartedly, full time you are watching them. more and more you watch them, you feel some kind of a detachment from the process. So it's a natural effect of the meditation. So when it is happening, this detachment happens. So even if you push your mind to the object, mind is not interested in getting the signs, being with the object, rather it comes out of it. And it likes to be free from the object. That's why Buddha says, virajjati and vimucchati. Virajjati is the kind of a fading away. Mind is not interested about the characteristics and the object becomes kind of a faded, blurred, not interested. And then mind becomes free from the object. So at that time, it is we should not force the mind to grasp the object, comprehend the object. Rather, we have to allow, we have to reduce the effort and allow mind to be at home, just to feel empty, just to feel some freedom. So feel some lightness in the mind. So when you are with that, so it's a kind of another stage of your meditation develops. So it's another progressive state. So you coming from the object, say with an object available meditation to an objectless meditation. So you have some mindfulness with the object, and then you are coming to another stage, mindfulness without an object. So once you come into this second phase, it's another completely different terminologies there. There are certain objects available. You may be even open your eyes and visible objects are available, but mind is not interested of looking at them. And you may be even look at them, those sights may hit the eye, but you are not capturing the signs. You are not capturing the details. You are not interested and going there and looking at them closely. Your mind likes to stay calm, serene, unbothered, peaceful within yourself. There may be certain sounds impinging to your, say, eardrum, but you are not looking at and see where the sound is coming. You are not interested. Your mind is not bothered about the sound. It may be a beautiful sound. It may be a beautiful song. But mind is not bothered. Mind is not grasping. Mind likes to stay unwavering. Mind likes to stay like a stable, kind of a peaceful, at home kind of a situation. There may be various orders available in the surrounding, but mind is not shifting, mind is not distracting to those orders. There may be various states available, you may be eating, you may be drinking, but still mind is not carried away by those thoughts. You may be experiencing various, say, sensations, still mind is not carried away. Maybe thoughts even happen, but they appear like outside, they appear like from the background. So this is a kind of a beautiful state of the mind, and this is a kind of an advanced state. So if I were to refer a particular sutta, there is one sutta called Sona Sutta. This comes in Anguttara Nikaya, Chakka Nipata. So there one venerable called Sona. So he comes and explains his experience to Buddha, telling this to refer you some Pali so that you believe me, otherwise you don't believe me. Busachepi chakku vinyaya rupa chakkussa apatam bhavissati amissi kata chittassa hoti titan chittang vippamuttang vayanchassanu passati. Now there are, if I were to take only the eye, so he is explaining, so there are many sights available. So he has open eyes and there are many sights available. Busachepi chakku vinyaya rupa chakkusa apatam bhavissati. And they come and impinge the eye also. He can see various things. Amissi kata chittassa hoti. But mind remained without mixing with these objects. Amissi kata chittassa hoti. Titan chittang. Mind remains like inside and stopped. It is not moving. It is not distracting. It is not jumping from one object to the other object. Even though you look at various things, it is like defocused like. So your mind is not interested of going to each and every object. Titan chittang vipamuttang. And mind is free. Mind is utterly free from all these objects. It is not captured with any of these sights. Titan chittang vipamuttang vayanchasanu pasati. In case you feel that something is fading away, you can even see that fading away part. You are interested of that fading away part, not looking at the kind of the arising part, but the fading away part. So this is what he is telling for the sounds, to the smells, to the taste and the sensations. So this is a situation that possible in the advanced states of the vipassana. So welcome that. More and more keep your mind unbothered. So maintain a free mind, kind of a very clean, clear mind. Maintain as much as possible. Don't kind of stress your mind. Don't say willfully think anything. In case if you can maintain kind of a very relaxed, very light mind without any object, maintain that as much as possible. Suppose mind is now shifting to a particular object. Just understand why is it shifting. Is it due to lust? Is it due to craving? Is it due to some kind of a conceit? Is it due to some kind of a delusion? So you understand the defilement. You understand the hidden characteristics. Understand the hidden point. And once you understanding it, then mind is now capable of coming back to yourself. It may come back to you and again stay free. So more and more you practice like that, so your mind becomes more and more clean, more and more clear. And you have mindfulness throughout. From the beginning of the day to the end of the day, you have mindfulness. But without an object mostly. So you don't need a mind object at that stage to be mindful. So it is a kind of a really interesting stage. And so welcome that. And more you understand what are the character traits, what are the asavas. Why this mind is carried away to a particular object. Why this mind is repelled from another object. So why am I interested of a particular person? Why I am repelled from or doesn't like another person? Why am I interested in a particular situation? Why I am not interested of another situation? All are due to our own kind of internal traits, internal habits. So a kind of deeper understanding about ourselves. So this is the real vipassana actually. So you are going to the real side of the vipassana, more and more self-understanding, more interesting. So there is no Buddha to come and just tell you, okay, this is the problem, you just correct this. There is no Buddha to tell that. We ourselves have to do that now. So we have to be utterly honest, utterly innocent, utterly mindful, then we can have a unbiased assessment about ourselves. What are my drawbacks? What are my problems? What are my strengths? Where I can improve? Where I need to correct? All these things, honestly, we have to understand and do the corrections. Yeah, good. Okay, that's all the questions we have. So if you have any other question, we can answer, or else we can wind up the session. Okay, so there is no question, and so we'll wind up the session, and we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. Okay. Thank you very much for participation.